Hello, friends, and welcome back to What the Health with Dr. L, where I share with you brief, less than 10 minutes, evidence based, backed up by scientific medical research, answers to important health and wellness questions. And today's question says, Dr. L, what is fat and how can we get rid of the fat that makes us sick and eventually kills us? Actually, fat is a whole organ on its own, and the main function of this organ is to store energy, which is very important and crucial for our survival. And without that function, we could not have survived for so long on this planet. The problem starts when we end up storing too much fat and we cannot release it to give the energy we need, because we get our energy from another source, which is the sugar available to us in the blood. That sugar comes mainly from refined carbohydrates. Carbohydrates that is low in fiber content and high in calories. It gets turned into sugar very quickly in the blood, raises the blood sugar levels, and therefore stimulates the pancreas to produce too much insulin, which causes hyperinsulinemia. When it comes to fat, there are actually different types of fat. Many people do not understand that there are, at least so far, we have discovered different five types of fat. Three white adipose tissues or white fat, and one brown adipose tissues or brown fat, and one beige adipose tissues or beige fat. Now, the three types of the white adipose tissues we want to keep under control, because if we end up with too much of the white fat, that's the fat that is associated with all the chronic diseases that are labeled as the diseases of the civilization, like heart problems, vessel problems, diabetes mellitus, obesity, Alzheimer's, and so on and so forth. The first type of white fat is right under the skin. We call it the subcutaneous skin, right there. And that's, it plays an important role, and it also helps us to turn the sunlight into vitamin D3 that comes from ultraviolet B. The second type of the white fat actually is located in our abdominal cavity, the deep recess of the abdominal cavity, and it surrounds our organs like the pancreas, the kidneys, the liver. And too much of that type of fat, which we refer to as visceral fat, turned out to be very dangerous for our health, and it can cause a lot of problems, including the diseases I have mentioned and all the other inflammatory diseases. So we want to keep this fat, to appropriate level. And the third type of the white fat is actually located inside our skeletal muscles. And it's interesting because it provides the muscles with the energy it needs, and it also communicates with the muscle fibers. But again, we do not want too much of that intramuscular fat, otherwise we end up with chubby muscles that is not well defined and it's not very strong. Okay? Now, the fourth type of fat is called brown adipose tissues or brown fat. That is good fat. That is fat that actually helps us to burn the bad fat or the triglycerides. Why? Because it's full of mitochondria. Mitochondria are the powerhouses we have that generate energy. And these mitochondria use triglycerides to produce energy, which is really good for us. When we are first born, we are born with a lot of brown fat, and that's the type of fat that keeps babies warm and prevent them from going into hypothermia. But as we age, we tend to lose that fat. But fortunately, there are ways to increase that type of fat in our bodies. Brown fat is mainly located around the collarbones, around the shoulder blades, and around our spine as well. The fifth type of fat is called beige adipose tissues or beige fat, and that fat has the capability of turning into either white fat or brown fat. Of course, we want it to turn into brown fat to help us burn the white fat. What it turns into depends mainly on two factors: our lifestyle, how we live, and the food we eat. The food we eat is very, very, very important. Burning white adipose tissues or white fat depends on several things, including hormones and enzymes and communications, different types of communications between different types of body organs. But mainly it depends on two hormones. Hormones are these text messages or emails between the different types of body parts. That's how our body communicates through hormones, and there's different about 50 different types of hormones made out of mainly made out of protein. That's why protein is really important for our health. But anyhow, we have two main hormones that control that process produced by the pancreas. We have the insulin, and we have the glucagon. Insulin is really important, but too much insulin can cause our bodies to store fat. That's a fat storing hormone. And glucagon is a fat burning hormone. But in the presence of too much insulin in the blood, the glucagon cannot function properly. Okay, that's why it's really important to prevent insulin from going into hyperinsulinemia, or too much insulin in the blood, because of the too much sugar we eat, the too much refined carbohydrates we eat. And there are two hormones. Beside these two hormones, there are two enzymes. One enzyme stores fat into the fat cells. That's the lipoprotein lipase. And the other enzyme helps us to release fat from the fat cells to burn them, and that's the hormone-sensitive lipase. That's in a nutshell what is fat, different types of fat, how we burn white fat. Next time I'm going to share with you more of the secrets we have discovered lately about how the body works to release fat, release fat for energy, and get rid of the extra white fat that is problematic and dangerous for us. Until then, you guys take care. All my love, and please take the time to subscribe to your channel and share all this good information with everybody you know. Take care.